Yeah, I've been seeing him because I have access to the premium content on geeksandgamers.com. And if you want to see him play Dark Souls, oh my goodness. I think the premium memberships on geeksandgamers.com have a lot of benefits to it. The two best benefits, in my opinion, are one, you get access to Mark the Cyborg trying his darndest to help Drunk 3PO play Dark Souls, and it's the most recent one especially is just a hilarious failure on behalf of Drunk. Basically, there is a character in the game that is kind of necessary in like to help you further your strengthening process as you move along in the game, but you can attack any character in the game, good or bad. And so Drunk kills, or rather attacks, this merchant character, kills them, and because he did that, even if you die, certain things reset, but certain characters don't come back if you've killed them, even if you do die. And so basically he killed this merchant character, and he couldn't get the arrows he needed, and oh man, it was just so funny. It is just fantastic. So that is one series. And then of course you've got Krista Nova, Darth Barbie. You have her playing GTA 5, which is also just hysterical. Let's see. Tina B says the Ghost game won't get any recognition. It's not woke enough. It'll be The Last of Us Part 2 winning everything and declared the greatest video game of all time. Well, I'm expecting that. No question. That film, that one's going to get a lot of stuff. But let me tell you right now, Ghost of Tsushima is still going to get recognition. And it's kind of that same mindset of with the Oscars, right? We know that certain actors in movies are going to get preference and are more likely going to win. But then there are still really good movies and good, or rather worthy people that do sneak in, right? They do somehow sneak in every now and then at these award shows, as crap as they are. Ghost of Tsushima, based on the fact alone that it is so well selling, that it's doing very well, that it's hard for them to keep the physical copies on the shelf, and that it's getting such high praise from fans and also even from critics too. If they were to leave that game off, it would cause a backlash that I don't think they would want to deal with. So I think that it will be on there. Don't be surprised if, as you said, The Last of Us Part 2 also gets on there because of, again, wokeness. Eric K., who's a member, says, let me look up 1990 movies. Why is that? Eric K. says, hail to you, good sir. Andrew Hoyle, who's a member, says, I've only ever seen Gina Carano in Deadpool and The Mandalorian, but she is now my favorite actress of all time. Thank you for bringing her up. Gina Carano, if you've not been following, she's been having these amazing takes on Twitter where essentially she is just calling out the mob mentality. And she's getting eviscerated by the Twitter mob, and she doesn't care. She keeps doubling and tripling and quadrupling down and says, I don't give a damn what you say. This is what's right. The other reason why, and I think the biggest reason why I have become a huge fan of her as well, as far as her social media presence is concerned, she's one of the only mainstream actresses that is actually talking about the issue of sex trafficking and the impact that it has on kids especially. She's one of the only persons, one of the only verified check marks that I see that I have any knowledge of whatsoever actually talking about that. And what's insane to me is that it makes you think, let me go to every major person that has made political posts, that has made, hey, support Black Lives Matter, support this group, support that group. And I would go through their Twitter feed and I would say, do they at any point mention these groups and these organizations that Gina's talking about? Because for those that are not aware, sex trafficking is a huge international problem. Like, it's a multi-billion, if not multi-trillion-dollar industry. Think about that for a second. The trafficking of human persons in 2020 is a multi-billion / multi-trillion-dollar industry, and a lot of innocent kids are getting impacted by that. And yet she is one of the only persons that I'm aware of that is, blue check marked actor in Hollywood that is actually mentioning a damn thing about it. I want to say Blake Lively is the only other person that I've seen, and she did there was a great video she had that was on social media, and it's her actually giving a speech at an event talking about it. And she goes into very graphic detail about the things that are out there. And she's like, this is going to be graphic, but it needs to be heard. And I'm like, damn right it does. So yeah, Gina Carano is a hero to me because she is speaking out on an issue that gets so ignored by Hollywood. Again, look how easily and how quickly we got the Imagine video that came out, right, when quarantine started. You got all the stuff with the campaigns for wear your masks. We, of course, got that whole thing, I take responsibility for white privilege and for all this nonsense, right? And yet, I've never seen any of that for the trafficking happening, which, by the way, has very clear and heavy ties with Hollywood. So Gina's calling that out. And she's actually extremely talented. I recommend this. If you've never seen the movie Haywire, watch it. For the stunts in there alone, for the fight sequences, which have no music underneath it, have no quick cuts, and it's nothing fancy. It's just raw fights. And guess what? She's doing I think, all of the stunts because she actually was a trained fighter. So thank you for bringing that up because, yeah, Gina Carano is a freaking rock star, and I've become a very big fan. I don't even know what her politics are, and at this point, I don't care because everything that I'm seeing on her Twitter feed at this point is supporting great organizations that don't get enough attention and calling out the Twitter mob, which is always a great thing. Jay Stowe's member says, can wait for a greatest hits release of Ghost of Tsushima and pick it up for $20. Exactly, right? I mean, I was able to pick up Spider-Man on the PS4, and it was the Game of the Year edition that had all of the extra DLCs included, and it was around $20. So I think that for me, since I've seen the gameplay of it, I would love to play it one day. I don't feel really the need to go out and buy it right now for $60. Slice of Neons, thank you very much for tagging me. Says, good evening, Asgard. Celebrating my grandma's birthday today. Not trying to rub it in, but pizza with pineapple and ice cream cake tonight. Damn you, Slicer Neons. Pizza with pineapple is disgusting. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you put the pineapple on the pizza? It is disgusting. And I will not allow it. But the ice cream cake sounds delicious. That is rubbing it in, for sure. We seem to have a lower crowd than usual tonight, so don't know exactly what's going on with that, but thank you very much for the 33 people that are watching the stream. Please smash that like button. It really does mean a lot. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff going on tonight, but thank you for being here. Andrew Hoyle says, what? You mean YouTube doesn't get their 30%? Says Andrew Hoyle. Doesn't get their 30%. Oh, you mean for Disney Plus or for what? So I don't know what that's a reference to, Andrew Hoyle. So hopefully later on you clarify what you meant by that, because I haven't done that speech tonight. Super Anime Gamer says, "Hey, what is up, my dude? What's going on, Super?" Tina says, "Well, I worked at the direction of the detectives, but yeah, that sounds very suspicious when your alleged victims hide in the house and don't talk to the police." Yeah, and we were able to. There was a friend of someone that we do have contact with there, who is out of town, whose friends came by to check on his dogs, and they told us apparently, or he told us, because it was this whole weird thing, that they had been there and they had left after the shots. Even though we know that isn't true because the lights were on all the way up until the cop got there and then the lights went off. So we think that there was, we think that there was, we don't know what was going on, but we think something was going on. Super then says, sorry I'm late, I was getting caught up on comics by Perch Vids. Cool. No problem at all. Golden Ration says, Ontario, Canada has opened the theaters since last week with limited capacity. Yeah, again, here's the thing. Most theaters can open in most states here in the U.S. By the way, for those that are just not aware, there are some states like California that have put restrictions on theaters, but most states' theaters can open. The problem is the vast majority of theaters are owned by giant corporations like AMC, Regal, etc., and because of that, they are, for some reason, I still don't quite understand it, and again, could just be the fact that they're so large that they can't do it this way, why they haven't opened up their theaters regionally as the restrictions have been lifted. Because technically speaking, the AMCs near me and Regals, at least in my part of town, they can reopen. There's going to be certain restrictions that they have to follow, but they can reopen, and they're choosing not to. And again, I think it's because of they're waiting for the big releases to come out. But there's been several local theaters near me that have been open now for months. So I would check if you still want to go to a movie theater and see something. There's a lot of classics that are being shown. You might have to look and dig and find a locally owned theater or a small chain, like a small regional chain, perhaps. Like there's a chain in here called here in the Tennessee area called UEC, which is a handful of theaters, and they're open, and that's within about 30 minutes of me. So in most locations, your theaters are open, just so you know. Or at least they're allowed to be. Slash Neon says, thank you for tagging me. Even if I was lacking in taste to want to see the new Mulan, I would just wait for it to be added to Disney Plus in 6 months or so. Classic Mulan and its sequel are better. Just watch them. Well, Classic Mulan's the best. And the fact that the new one's not going to have Mushu, it's not going to have music either, and it's going to be lacking a lot of the things that made the first one entertaining. I mean, why would I want to watch it? Yeah, and it probably, to be honest, would be less than 6 months. It really depends on the theatrical release and how well the $30 works or doesn't work. So, but once that goes live and someone decides to buy it or decides to get it, they can tell us more information. I'm sure that once that happens, we'll get actual information about that. Bruce, who's a member, what's going on, good sir? Glad to see you here. Blake St. Clair's in the chat. What's going on? Would that? What's going on? Glad to see you here. General Wingster, also I did see our troll, Brad Noble, who still doesn't tag me, so that's why I can only just see his name and say hi. Cobra Viber 999 also as well. General Wingster says, Tina keeps telling us she will slap us silly if we rent Mulan. So I will definitely not rent Mulan tonight. By the way, I'll give you a plot summary on Tuesday. Mulan's not even available for rent yet. The new Mulan's not going to be available for rent, I think, until early September. So you couldn't do that anyway. And the plot summary is already pretty much been released because it's the story of Mulan, and we've gotten trailers, and they've already have those basic descriptions. Hybrid X13, thanks for tagging me, says, I've been hearing some things about that Transformers trilogy series on Netflix. Have you seen it yet? I heard some good things, some bad things, but I heard they gave depth to Megatron. No, I have not seen it because I'm just not a big Transformers person. And the live action kind of just, soured me on them. So I have no real desire to watch them. I've been watching, as I said before, I've watched The Boys. I binge watched that first season. And I was also able to watch 2 seasons of the Umbrella Academy in the last 2 weeks as well. And today I was binge watching some Big Bang Theory because I fell behind. And I just want to finish the series because, it's a show that went on way too long, and it's not as great as it was originally, but there's actually some funny episodes still. Let's see. Super Anime Gamer says, have yet to watch yesterday's Friday Night Tights. I was very tired. Did you guys get to go over the Hugo Awards speech as Gary promised? Just one of them while I was there. It was an Asian woman that won, and she was giving her acceptance speech, and it turned into I'm just going to call out the industry / blame everyone else nonsense. So, Peabody, thank you for letting your brother know how to contact me. Tina then says, and that's $30 plus $12 at $7 a month. That movie isn't worth $30, let alone that. Well, again, I don't think of it in that terms as much, only because you're paying, in all likelihood, if you are going to rent, or rather, if you're going to buy Mulan when it comes out for $30, you're already buying the service. You're already spending that much. In fact, you're probably already spending $12 on the ESPN Plus package with Hulu, right? So you're already getting that deal there. So I think that they probably won't think of it in those terms. But yeah, you're right. They do then have to, if they want to keep that movie, and if they decide to do that for other movies, that has to be taken into the price as well. Bruce, who's a member, says, I'll wait till it comes out on Blu-ray and pay less for it. Yeah, and I would argue that I can predict the movie's not going to be worth getting even on Blu-ray. So anyway, the chat has jumped on me once again like it normally does. I was indeed behind in the chat. So let's see where we left off, because there aren't a lot of people here tonight. Cool. No comments were skipped. So that is indeed fantastic. But yes, I usually fall 20 to 30 minutes behind, but I usually make it up as quick as I can. All right, so there's Super's comment. So the last comment I have on YouTube is at 7:30. It is 7:58 in real life where I am right now. So still about 30 minutes or so behind, but as I said, not a whole lot of people here. We're up to 64, which is about more normal. Let's see what's going on over on DLive, though. Let's see. Over on DLive, looks like, okay, YouTube went down, apparently. So something went down at one point. Some of it's good, some of it's not good. Okay, maybe some of their streams went down because of weather. I don't know. I wasn't being tagged in any of those comments, so hopefully everything's okay. But Captain J-Rod, the beer guru, what's going on, Captain J-Rod, who is one of my Subscribe Star members too. He just dropped a Ninja Guinea over on DLive, which is a huge deal. Thank you very much for the Ninja Guinea. And he says, "Hail the All-Father, his glorious beard, and his Valkyries. May his knowledge enlighten us." Thank you very much, J-Rod, the beer guru. Thank you for the Ninja Guinea, man. Always dropping those bombs when you stop by. Thank you very much, man. Thank you for your love, for your support. And yes, hail to the Valks. Hail to the chat. And I hope that one gets something out of it. Adam says, "You went down on both." Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Again, my end says everything is fine with no drop frames, but that does not always guarantee it. So sometimes that happens. Captain Dean High says, "Hail Odin, sorry I'm late. Was watching World Class BS stream of Beverly Hills Cops 1 and 2. That makes sense. Well, thank you for being here nonetheless. James, thank you very much for the $1 donation via Streamlabs. Thank you very much for the direct donation. Says, "Favorite Mel Gibson film? Mine is The Patriot. Thanks." So I'm assuming what is my favorite Mel Gibson film? If you mean whatever film he's ever been attached to, Passion of the Christ is fantastic. If you mean ones that he's actually had to act in, I love Road Warrior. I think he's fantastic in that movie. I do love the Lethal Weapon movies as well. Have a lot of fun with him in that. The Patriot, though, I think is a solid choice. I would say The Patriot's also a very solid choice. A lot of the things he's in, he's pretty damn good in. I actually even like The Beaver, the one that he did. It was one of the comeback movies, I think, when he was, still going through, getting his life back on track, and he ended up, doing this fantastic performance of a guy who was just kind of losing it. And it was pretty good. All right, back over to YouTube. Super Anime Gamer says, "Thanks for tagging me. Think keeping the purchase within Disney Plus is their way of stopping piracy? Because I can tell them now it won't work." Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's that. I think it's their way of trying something new, right? Because also keep this in mind. Disney Plus is not connected to any video on demand service as of right now. And so because of that, everything really has to be handled through Disney Plus exclusively. Otherwise, it would probably take them a lot longer. So because they're in this pinch that they're in, it's easier for them, I imagine, to get a purchase done through Disney Plus alone and attach that to their Disney Plus service. And in doing so, basically what it is it means it's on their server, right? So it's just like any other movie or show that's available on Disney Plus is. The difference is that they could put a little piece of code that says, "Oh, you have to do this to access it," and then they put in whatever code they need to for processing, etc. And so it's easier for them to have code that keeps it there because it's already there, versus having to then bring in outside sources in, and that becomes more complicated. So I imagine that's probably why. 13th Warrior says, "But you can't have a child put PB&J sandwich in a digital movie player." That is true, 13th Warrior. That is true. Andrew Hoyle is a member, says, "I think Mulan is doomed no matter how good or bad it is." It depends, Andrew Hoyle, right? There's a lot of arguments that I can see that make sense for the movie to be a failure. Them obviously trying to be more kind towards China, right? Them really going after the Chinese market, I think, is something that could definitely hurt them in other parts of the world, for anyone that is aware of these things and pays attention. I think that a lot of people who love the original are not going to want to see this one, right? I think there are a lot of things that can keep this from being a successful film. At the same time, Disney is a large company. They know how to make money for the most part, and they will do their damnedest to do anything they can to make money. So that's why you're seeing, hey, we're going to put it on Disney Plus for $30. Let's see what happens, because no matter what happens, if even just 4 people buy it, right, that's $30 a pop. So that's raw money that they're not splitting with anyone else. Again, I can see an argument made for why they could succeed, but also why they could fail. So I'm not at the point yet now to say that it's going to be a failure. Because let's be honest too, this is a movie that's probably going to be on Disney Plus for $30, in theaters for longer than it normally would, because they're going to want it to be out for as long as possible to make as much money back as they can before putting it for free on Disney Plus. So it's going to have I would say it's going to be impossible for this movie and for any big budget film that comes out during this time to really confirm whether it's a flop or not. Because they're going to have to play around with so many different revenue streams, like premium video on demand services, getting it out earlier, right? Keeping them on video on demand longer before contracting them out to another service or to their own service. I think that you're going to see a lot more of that, and it's going to be a lot harder. And that's why I've been saying that the box office, I think, is dead, right? The way that we used to be able to track movies and the success of movies, I think that's done. But that means that studios can now be a lot more creative in trying to spin movies as being successful. Tina says, so you've got live-action Mulan played by a supporter of the communist governments spinning around and doing her Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon imitation. Nope, I didn't even like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Yeah, and again, I've seen the trailers and I have no interest. Nothing about the trailers has interested me. Might be different for you, but for me, not so much. 13th Warrior, thanks for tagging me, says, with a mask on, you can make soft, derogatory remarks about the students, then say it wasn't anything important when the student, they said. Yeah, you could. I wouldn't even play around with that because, yeah, just not even worth it. Just not even worth it. Plus, for the most part, most of my students are great. Eric K says, maybe you cannot breathe because you're getting older than dirt. Let's use the old man voice. No, Eric K., it's not that. Come on, man. Don't go after me like that. How dare you? How dare you? Forever Sci-Fi, who's a member, says, I don't feel good wearing masks as well, and that's over a short period. I've developed a slight anemia over the last few months because my diet has changed thanks to this mess. Well, damn, I'm sorry to hear that. And yeah, some people can't really deal with it for a short period of time. And as I said, really praying for anyone that is a teacher going into this new year who's having to do all of these new things, like clean all the desks between every class and wear the mask the entire time or for the most part of their day. It's going to be tough, and it has been tough. Eric K. then says, I have both. I need context, man. That made no sense to me because I had no context. JKD Buck says, my wife goes back to teaching Monday. We live in the hottest COVID area of our state. Bless me. Now everyone's going to say, oh my gosh, you sneezed. Come on. But anyway, yeah, it's crazy. And, it's interesting too, because there was this news story that came out a day or two before we had our first day on Friday. And it was talking about a school in Mississippi and how they were open for a week. And then after the week, they had to shut down because their number of cases had just become so large. And I want to say it got up to around 116 cases in their entire school, which is a large number. So I'm assuming it's a large school. But yeah, we're trying to do all the things possible to not have that happen. Because if it does happen, then we'll be doing at home. And it'll be, it'll be good and bad. Good because I'll be able to see my wife a little bit more. But bad because we'll have to live stream to all the students, and if a student can't be there, it could be technical difficult. It's just going to be a lot harder to manage that kind of thing. But yeah, we'll make it work. Jay Stowe, as a member, says, I can agree the mask can get really stuffy after an 8-hour shift. I wear glass, so the fog is fun too. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Eric K says, you should try being nuclear containment in the whole suit for a 12-hour day. Well, even then, right, if you're in a suit, I feel like you might have less oxygen, but I feel like you still have better airflow. It's interesting because people like to bring up other examples, but then it also is like, but it's also not the same thing, right? Because people bring up doctors and say, well, doctors sometimes have to wear their entire shift, and sometimes they'll work for 12 plus hours. But they're also not giving a speech, essentially, every single time they're meeting with the patient. So there is a difference there. And also, their masks are much more fancy and likely give them much better airflow than what we're using for free or whatever we're using, right? Because I use the cloth ones that have been made by either my wife or my grandmom, or I bought some as well that were cloth as well. The reusable kind. Andrew Hoyle says, didn't Marvel do a deal with a mobile phone company in the U.S. who bought a ton of tickets and gave them away to people signing up for new contracts and then add them to the final ticket sales? They may have done that, Andrew Hoyle. I remember someone reported on that. But, you know, if that is in that case, then Marvel still sold those tickets. So to me, even if someone didn't show up to that movie, it still is a sale. So they still did make a deal with a company where they bought those tickets. Whether they were at a cheaper rates or not, it's still a sale. So that, I think, should count towards the ticket sales, because that is an amount of money that was spent on said tickets, right? And that's why, for me, I've always much more appreciated, and unfortunately in the United States, we don't have this metric. I rather would see how many movie tickets, like individual tickets, were actually sold for a movie versus the money it made, because you see these movies making so much money now, but then they probably aren't selling as many tickets as they did back in the day, you know? And I think that number of tickets is a much better metric to use to be able to, compare, especially to a lot of other things. But yeah. Anyway, though, David Harvey, thank you very much for the $50 donation. And by the way, dude, thank you for donating via Streamlabs, man, because it is very helpful. Again, that's a direct donation. YouTube gets none of that. And thank you. So David Harvey, thank you so much. He says, here in Florence, South Carolina, the theaters are still closed. One local theater set up an inflatable projector set up for showing older films, but being outside in the evening in August is problematic with the weather. Hail. Well, thank you, David Harvey, for that information, man. Yeah, and, obviously every state's different, but I still stand by. Most states have allowed theaters to reopen, but it's going to be the local ones that are going to reopen before the big chains do, because the big chains are thinking internationally, or thinking, or just even nationally here in the United States, and are acting as such. And so even though, again, my local AMCs and Regals have been allowed to reopen for 3 months now and haven't, because of the corporate decision being made there. I don't know what it is like in South Carolina right now, so I don't know what the rules are or what the executive orders are or anything like that. But I'm glad to hear that there's at the very least something that's there, something that's going to be shown. And yeah, the drive-ins have been open for a long time. I don't think the drive-ins in most states ever closed down. So their business has actually picked up. Problem is that especially in my part of the world, the sun doesn't set until around 9 o'clock or so. And so the first movie starts around 9:20, 9:30, and you get a double feature. I can't stay up that late anymore. It's just not my thing. So anyway, David Harvey, thank you very much for the donation via Streamlabs, and thank you for the information as well. Tina B says, how dare he apologize for his wife? Who the heck does he think he is? No man apologizes for me, and I won't be buying his gin either, says Tina B. So that's a reference to the news about, oh man. And this is why sometimes I need that extra bit of context, because sometimes I blank out on names. And then people post them in the chat thinking that I'm going to see them, but I'm not, because I'm behind the chat, so why would I see your live comments now at this point? It wouldn't make any sense. But anyway, you know who I'm talking about. The guy. Now I sound like Joe Biden, and that's never a good thing. Bruce, as a member, says, did someone just claim Odin? Did someone claim me? Did someone claim me? Is that why oh, maybe that's why I got down to 30. That would make more sense. So yeah, at first I was like 30 people. That sounds kind of low. So I guess the stream cut off for a little bit. Yeah, it didn't tell me. This says everything is going fine. So I don't know what happened. But anyway, so Andrew Hoyle's like, Disney just canceled Odin. Eric K says, Odin left us, taken back to Asgard. No. The mouse is struck, says Bruce. Duck Fisney. Broken. Oh no. Eric K, damn you, YouTube, you did this to us. Bruce, where, oh, where has our little Odin gone? Oh, where has he gone? Andrew Hoyle, did you have an Nerdronic-style senior moment, Odin? Or was it Disney? It must have been YouTube. I'm guessing. Must have been YouTube. However, now I'm looking at this, and the chat has been disabled. Am I still live on YouTube? Oh, no. Oh no. Am I even still... I might not be live on YouTube anymore. Or I am. Okay, I am. It's just it's now it's a new chat. All right, cuz my chat window stopped showing updates. Oh boy. So some comments may have indeed been skipped. Very very sorry about that. Don't know exactly what happened there. So anyway, some comments probably have been skipped. Sorry about that. Don't know what happened. No, my computer didn't tell me anything. Again, my streaming levels are okay. 0 drop frames. So yeah, it's not my computer. It's not anything on my end. So it was either streaming. No, it was either Restream. Restream has had issues in the past, so it probably actually was more Restream's fault because I think DLive also got impacted. So if DLive and if DLive and YouTube get affected, then it's Restream. Restream's been having issues, man. It's ridiculous. Anyway, let me go ahead and get to DLive first, though, while my YouTube fam gets caught up. Again, very very sorry indeed about falling apart there. But anyway. Let's see. Captain Heist says, Hail Odin. Sorry I'm late. Got to that one already. JKD-Buck76, thank you for the lemon donation. JKD-Buck76, thank you for the 2 lemon donations. I appreciate it. Phonemo says, I saw a New Mutants trailer today that said it was still going to be in theaters on the 28th of August. Yep, they keep saying it. I will never believe that movie has come out until it actually gets a release. That's ridiculous. D-Nice. Captain Dean High says, missed the stream on Tuesday. Hope all is well. Hey, I didn't have a stream on Tuesday, Captain Dean High, so you didn't miss anything. Adam says, but when Disney gives away tickets, that cannot be counted as sales, buddy. Just saying. But what we were just talking about was not them giving it away. They made a deal with a cell company, and so therefore the cell company purchased tickets to give away. They were probably bought at a lower rate. That does count. That does count, Adam. So don't correct me, bro. Don't correct me. Adam says you went to a new stream on YouTube. Well, that sucks. I hate when it does that. Adam says DLive was also affected. Yeah, so that was Restream. Screw you, Restream. Seriously. Anyway, J-Rod the Beer Guru, thank you for another Ninja Genie. Holy crap, dude. Thank you so much. He says, take my Space Force bucks, you lion dog-faced pony soldier. Cheers, buddy. Well, thank you very much for the attack in your Joe Biden impression. I really do appreciate that very much. I am indeed a lying dog-faced pony soldier. But thank you for the Space Bucks, bro. I really do appreciate it. The Ninja Genie, he's dropped 2 Ninja Genies tonight. Thank you so much. That's about 1,000 Lino or lemons, which is the digital currency, the cryptocurrency used over on DLive. So thank you very much, Captain J-Rod the Beer Guru. Thank you. You're awesome. As Captain Dean Hayes has donated 5 ice cream donations. Adam says, YouTube went down for 44 minutes, then created a new stream, which is live now, by the way. 44 minutes? What? It was down for 44 minutes? That doesn't make any sense. I could understand 4 minutes, but not 44. Adam says, Walmart was giving tickets away for Star Wars. No money was charged. Walmart... No. Adam. Walmart giving away tickets means Walmart's not making anything. They would have had to buy those tickets from Disney in order to give them away, which means that money was used to buy them. Okay? The only time that you would be correct is if Disney gave free tickets to Walmart to give away for free. But I don't think that's what happened. And again, if you have an article that proves the point, I would very much like to see it. Adam then says, I got that one already. Cam Dean Heiss says, I know you didn't have a stream on Tuesday. I meant not having it to watch. Peabody says, went down for 44 minutes. What? Why did no one notify me? 44 minutes? Why did no one? And again, I'm sure it might be in. No, it couldn't have been 44 minutes. If it was 44 minutes, I would have gotten at least a chat from my Valks. It couldn't have been down for 44 minutes. At 44. Okay. Thank you. That makes much more sense, Peabody. At the 44 minutes, it went down. Okay. Gotcha. That makes much more sense. That makes a lot more sense. Anyway, we'll see how those things work out. As Andrew Hoyle, thank you very much. Going back to YouTube now. Thank you very much for saying bless me. Tina then says bless you at 8:07 Eastern. It's 8:19. And we're about 8 minutes or so towards the end. Jeremy Swiggs, what's going on? As he says, God bless you. Nathan Slays in the chat. Thank you for being here. Hound 3000, thanks for being in the chat. Iron Vet is here as well. Eric K says, I have both Roku and Amazon Fire Stick as well as all built into the main TV. Yeah, and guess what? You are a part of the vast majority of people, and you cannot use, then, HBO Max. So why would you want to get it? Again, if you'd rather watch it on your phone, or again, if you have another device that can actually use it, otherwise it's just not worth it. Just not worth it if you can't use it. Apollo Patriot says, Hail Greek mythology and I love my blue Twilight women. Hashtag Daddy Toenails happening, says Apollo Patriot. Interesting. Nathan Slay, have you ever seen the Cape Fear remake? There's a remake to Cape Fear? I only know of one Cape Fear. Was that the remake? I don't remember. Blake St. Clair says, Tinfoil Hat Time. An old story from around 2000 tells that a certain star of Ocean's 11, the remake, bought $1 million worth of tickets because they got a larger bonus for box office. I guess you mean that if the box office reached a certain mark, that they would get a certain amount of money? Because if they get a percentage of the box office, then that makes no sense. Because if you put $1 million in, then you only get a certain percentage of the back. So I'm assuming you meant the first one, though. That if they reached a certain level, they would get a bonus. Hybrid X13, do you still know the way, my brother? Why was it crashing? Why was it crashing? I spit on the stream. I would spit on it too. I guess I said it must have been a restream issue because it went down on both DLive and on YouTube. And we have got about 80 people watching on YouTube. So thank you very much. Smash the like button, please. Especially since now this apparently is a new event or is a new window or is a new stream. Again, doesn't make sense to me. But thank you all very much for putting up with that. But it does explain why we went down to 30 people at one point. So Rhaegar Targaryen, Odin's movie, go, the thing. Exactly, Rhaegar. Exactly. Andrew Hoyle, the penny drops. The penny drops. And then everyone's like, you're live, you're live, you're live. And, of course, I'm not going to see it because I'm going to go back in time. Tina says, you were live at 8:14 Eastern. Cool. So I've been alive for a little bit. And no, I did not boomer it at all. I did not touch anything. I did not change anything. It was technology failing me. Hashtag blame restream is what I say. Old and Peculiar, what's going on? Glad to see you here. Glad to see you here. Super says, yes, as of 8:10, now I'm hearing different times. You were alive and have been for some time. You dropped out for approximately 3 minutes. Oh, cool. So I went out for 3 minutes and then I was back. Grandmaster Yoda says, if Disney is trying the scummy Mulan move on Captain Marvel, it will flop. No one will pay for it. Wait, what? The scummy Mulan move on Captain... That makes... Grandmaster Yoda, we've had this conversation several times. That made no sense. At all. Please clarify. Please clarify. Bruce says, yes, I even got a new email alert when you came back on stream. So is the title the same? Again, YouTube, you're ridiculous. Super. You've actually been reading from the old and new chat. I don't think anything was skipped. Yeah, I assume that when everything comes together, luckily because I do fall behind in the chat, it will be relatively seamless. There's going to be some comments that may have been skipped, but the recording that I have is going to be nonstop 1 hour and 26. So maybe I'll need to, the podcast version of this will be the complete stream. So anyway, Think Noodle, thank you for the dollar donation via Streamlabs, says, did you see the theater owner destroy a Mulan movie poster? I find this to be really bad, childish behavior. The government needs to give relief to movie theaters, not have people forced to risk their lives for a movie. So you mentioned a couple different things there, so thank you for the donation. So for one, it being childish behavior, I don't think of it as such. That might be your opinion. I don't, because when the announcement's made that Disney is going to release a huge movie into select theaters on a certain date and then Disney Plus and not release it in the United States, if I was a U.S. theater owner, I would be pretty pissed too, because that means, hey, I can't reopen now, or I'm not going to make as much revenue now. Disney has just screwed me. So you know what? No, I think they have every right to be pissed off, and that is a healthy way of doing it. They're not hurting anybody, and guess what? Here's a secret. Having worked at a movie theater, that's what we do essentially to all standees when they are done. When a movie has come out, that's when the standee or posters will usually come down, the marketing materials. We usually tear it apart, rip it into pieces so that we can then put it into the recycling or put it into the trash. So one, I don't think it was at all childish behavior, because I think he had every right to be angry and pissed off. And I think that's a healthy way of doing it compared to doing something else. And, so to that point, that's what I have to say. And then you say the government needs to give relief to movie theaters, not have people forced to risk their lives for a movie. Here's the thing, though. No one is forced to go to a movie theater. No one is forced to go. So that is a completely incorrect argument already. The theaters and businesses that have been closed and affected have already been getting relief. They've already been getting it. That's why AMC and the other chains haven't had to shut down and haven't had to go file for bankruptcy. All right, they've been getting the relief already. If a movie theater wants to reopen, they should be allowed to reopen. If a state's going to have restrictions, okay, well then they're going to be expected to follow those restrictions. If they don't follow them, then obviously there's going to be legal ramifications. But as far as endangering or forcing people to risk their lives, no one is forcing anyone to do anything. If you want to go to a theater, you do so by choice. You do so by choice. I want to have that choice. I want my local theaters to reopen. I want studios to release the movies so the theaters can actually show the damn movies. And then I will decide whether or not I go to the theater or not. Period. So that's what I got to say about that. Sierra Productions, what's going on? Hello there, he says. Hello. Grandmaster Yoda says, as I said in spring, the Fox deal forced Disney to cinema, show all left over Fox film. Myth or true, I don't know, but it makes sense. Man, dude, seriously. Please work. I know you're translating. I know you're translating from a different language, man, but you need to get that sentence structure, because otherwise it's just infuriating because I don't know what you're saying. Slicer Neons, you are a truth-telling pony-faced dog soldier. Thank you. Orange Chat Reviews, you were not down for 44 minutes. It dropped and a new stream started. Gotcha. Thank you. Yeah. Tina's now saying, no, 4 minutes. 4 minutes. So predictable. Stephanie B says, sorry, Chief. I apologize for missing the chat. No problem at all, Stephanie B. Greta Zeno says, I guess my comments were skipped, but I hope you, Frey, and Baby Thor are doing well. Thank you very much, Greta. Yes, I think it was. And everyone is doing well. By the way, please check out Greta's channel. Greta Zeno, she just uploaded a short film that she wrote and starred in. So go check that out. It is a very short film. It's only a few minutes long, really. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I actually liked it a lot. I wanted more. I wanted like more story and more background, but that's kind of the point of the movie because it doesn't fill in all the gaps for you. It gives you just bare bones pieces of information and it lets the emotions and the situation speak for itself. And I actually enjoyed that a lot. And the framing and the cinematography and the acting, of course. So go check it out. Greta's awesome. Tina says the De Niro version is the remake of Cape Fear. The original starred Robert Mitchum as the De Niro character made back in the 50s. I've seen neither. Blake St. Clair, the story for Ocean's 11 was if the movie hit number 1, they got $10 million back and a sequel. Okay, gotcha. Well, then I would believe that. And guess what? They have a right to do with their money whatever they want to do. Simple as that. And it actually, even without it, it was still a successful film. It still would have been a successful movie. Nathan Slay, do you like Cape Fear from 1991 then? I don't think you answered my question. I don't think the question was made clear, so I've never seen either version. So, let's see. Chris C, welcome to the chat. Marion, welcome to the chat as well. Rob D, thanks for tagging me, says, Saturday, 8/8/20, the day Odin's movie blog stood still for just a few minutes. 13th Warrior, Jim Caviezel starring in a movie about Tim Ballard's Operation Underground Railroad, an organization rescuing children from traffickers. That's awesome. Yeah, Jim Caviezel is also one of those great actors working in Hollywood, where he usually does projects that are either about something very important or that are attached to different groups and organizations that are important. Tina says, the title is the same. It was so weird. You left, then the chat went off. Then you came back in mid-sentence. It was like we hit the Matrix. Yeah, that is quite bizarre because, my recording did not ever stop. Super says, regards to my comment at 8:10. My clock is 3 to 4 minutes slow, so everyone else is correct. Got it. Andrew Hoyle, a member, says, I used to love building the standees when I worked at the cinema, mainly because it got me out of serving customers. Yes. Oh, when I got picked to do marketing, because I eventually was chosen as a supervisor, and I was put in charge of marketing, the marketing days were the best days, because literally I was to only focus on marketing and not to focus on anything else. If someone came up to me and asked a question, I, of course, had to answer. But yeah, didn't have to go to the concession stand, did not have to do anything else. It was awesome. My favorite days were working when it was marketing or working on the movie schedule because they eventually got me in the booth doing and building schedules, which was also fun because it was away from people. Greta with the hearts, no problem at all. Again, seriously, you did great work. Again, I hope that it's getting a lot of views. Forever Sci-Fi says 1 to 5 minutes, 3 sub. Mark Krell, what's going on? Disney might have found a way there to avoid the box office and backlash there. If someone brought it up already, I'm sorry I was cooking. It didn't get everything. Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about how this gives Disney a new way of spinning things. Again, they can't lie about the money because they have to file, for taxes, the actual money they made. However, they don't have to give actual money totals. They can give really any metric or any number they want to make it sound better than what it is, or to make it sound whatever message or whatever narrative they want to send is what they can do. So, Nathan Slay, is Memento one of the most brilliant films ever made? I mean, it's one of the greatest movies of its century. Memento is a great film. It's not one of my all-time favorites. Would I say it's one of the best films ever made? No, I wouldn't say that. Is it one of the strongest Nolan movies? That you could probably argue. But it's a very clever movie. I enjoy it, but not on my top 10. Blake St. Clair, really? I heard that Ocean's 11 conspiracy theory on the director's commentary of Entourage, the TV show. Not sure which episode. That is interesting that you would hear it on a completely different show. Nathan Slay, I wonder if Disney is the reason why your chat got cut off. No, as I said, it couldn't have been because it was a restream issue. Because the only way that the YouTube and DLive could have been affected at the same time is if it was a restream problem. So, Nathan Slay believes that Memento is better than Inception. I think over time, yes. Memento, I think, has stood the test of time more so than Inception. Inception is that movie that you watch over and over again, and every time you watch it, you start to notice more problems with the story and with the script, and So it starts to bother you almost, where with Memento, I feel like it gets better with every viewing. So I'll at least agree with you there. But I think The Dark Knight is a much better film. I think The Prestige is a much better film than Memento. And I'm sure I could sit down with all of the movies he's made. And Batman Begins, I would argue, is better than Memento. But again, that's when you get down to, what do I mean? Is that my subjective opinion? Is that objectively based? Again. Golden Ration says, my comment about Girl with Dragon Tattoo may have been skipped. Try out the Swedish version of the movies. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that. I mean, obviously, they're the originals, and obviously, I know that they have been said to be better, but I know that they contain content that I'm not usually a big fan of, so maybe. I don't ever feel the need. I've never felt the need to watch any version of those movies, by the way. So, all right, let me jump over to D-Live, though. Dean Heiss confirming that the 91 Cape Fear was a remake. Again, I love when a bunch of people are trying to be the first. It's like, just hold back. Someone's going to answer the question at some point. Peabody says, brand new stream, all sparkly and shiny. Please park it safely. We don't want any dents. Adam says, Walmart was given Rise of Skywalker tickets for the employees only, good for opening weekend for free. I have family members in management. All right, well then if it was only given to the employees for opening weekend for free, that is not many, and that would not have counted. If it was given for free, and yeah, so that they wouldn't have counted that. So again, if you have an article saying that they counted that, then please give it to me. But they don't, that I'm aware of. Because again, if the tickets were given by Disney to Walmart for free and then given from Walmart to their employees for free, that's not a huge number of tickets, and at no point is any money being charged, and so therefore it would not go into their box office. So, Captain J. Rad, the Beer Guru, says, so what you are saying, my body, my choice, get out of here. Get out of here with that nonsense. Adam says, by the way, hi, my friend, love you, enjoy spending time with you as always. Same here, Adam. I'm just trying to confirm and clarify, man. All right, because I don't like diving down any conspiracy theory rabbit holes. I like to think logically and consistently. And so far, I'm not quite getting what you're trying to say. Is the main thing there. We do need to start wrapping things up, though. So let me just finish up any comments. Nathan Slay, I watched the movie Taxi Driver on Thursday night, and I don't know what the ending means. Don't really think it's supposed to mean anything in particular. I mean, he goes on with his life. Sometimes we think films are deeper than what they're supposed to be. And sometimes films leave us thinking. So I can't answer that question for you. Hyphen says, on your stream of Valhalla the other day, talking about Winston Churchill, I watched this amazing edit combining both Darkest Hour and Dunkirk. It's amazing, like it's one movie. Oh, cool. Nice. I like Darkest Hour a lot, especially because of the acting. Dunkirk, not as much. Again, is Dunkirk beautifully shot? Yes. Right? Is the production design, costuming great? Yes. Characters? Not really there. And to me, I need to have at least some characters that are developing in a story. Unless it's truly amazing and unique in another area, which that one is not. Nathan Slay says that Taxi Driver has an ambiguous ending. Again, it's been a long time since I've seen it. I don't ever really remember it being all that ambiguous. It just was an ending that, I don't know. Again, I haven't seen it in a long time. Tina B, oh, nice. I was impressed by Darkest Hour. Now I'm ready to take on the ultimate Churchill bio. Nice. Very, very cool. Let's see. Adam says, oh, no. Captain J. Rad, the Beer Guru says, I was just curious. Have you watched Run, Lola, Run? If you have, did you like it? I was recently recommended to watch this. I've never seen Run, Lola, Run. So, no. I have never, ever seen that in my life. But anyway, boom. That is all of the comments. So thank you very much for joining me this evening. Remember that at the end of every live stream, I do shout out specifically my YouTube members who are at certain levels, who are at the Army of Asgard level and the Keeper of the Bifrost level. So I need to give a huge shout out to Eric K, Orange Chat Reviews, Bruce, Adam Avery, Latino Slant, Larry, The Bosco 2000, Twirly Wolf, Jay Stowe, and Aiden Vickery. Thank you so much for being my YouTube members. You guys are freaking awesome. As Captain J. Rod, the Beer Guru says, you are correct. Dunkirk was a great visual movie. It did lack character development and therefore, to me, a good story. That's just my thing. Adam then says, thank you for spending time with us. Of course, Peabody, Run Lola Run has the girl from The Bourne Identity. Very, very cool. She's a great actress. So I'm assuming Run Lola Run is also a good movie. But anyway, you guys are freaking awesome. Thank you all very much for being here this evening. Thank you to all of my members on YouTube. Thank you to all my subscribers on DLive. Thank you to everyone that supports the channel in the various ways you do. Shout out, of course, mainly to Steph, who is the general of my Valkyries, and of course to the Empress of the Universe herself, Tina, for always being in the chat, always helping me out. You guys seriously are all freaking awesome and amazing and beautiful people. Sorry that there was a random technical issue that left the stream cut in two. I don't know exactly why that happened. It seems like it's a restream issue, but it should still show up in the chat, or rather still should show up in the sub feed as being, I guess, now two separate videos. So I might just have to change the titles to part 1, part 2, because I've been leaving them live because why not? The YouTube algorithm doesn't make any damn sense anyway. So why would I do all this random extra stuff of hiding things and uploading it later on? It just gets ridiculous. But anyway, if you do listen to the podcast version of this, you'll probably be very confused because you'll have the entire podcast version all condensed into one pretty little thing. So anyway, thank you all so very much for being here. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. I do have a new Patreon shout out video for August. So yeah, have a good one, everybody. And as always, DLive fam, stick around. As always, God bless. And yes, Eric K. Tora. I have it. I'm planning to watch it. Don't worry. Thank you again, and literally right in front of me. Thank you for sending that my way. Anyway, love you all. God bless. And now a huge shout out to all of my August Patreon and Subscribe Star members. Starting on Patreon, Albertus Magnus, Animation Commentator, Brian P., David Bobrizik, Dion, Divex, Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, Hail Father, Father Damian Cook, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Wiener Dog Clan, Harold Francis, the Hunka Chunky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jacob Juice, Jeffrey Toon, Jonathan Carney, Kenneth Cameo, Lady T, Laura Story, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mike Jackson, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, On to June, Orange Hat Reviews, Out of Step with Reality, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, Tina Bojan, and Tina B., my Valkyrie and Empress of the Universe. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. And also, shout out to my Subscribe Star peeps, Stand For, John B., Perpetual Punster, Robert Revo, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, Darkstar 57, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., US 888209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, J-Rod the Beer Guru, Nebadon G. Adams, and ZK-Man. Thank you all so very much for supporting me this month. You guys are freaking awesome. If you want your name shouted out at the end of every single video and live stream, and also if you want to have access to special perks like giveaways and an exclusive podcast that I do with fellow YouTuber John the Flickinger, please check out Patreon, Subscribe Star, and YouTube memberships in the links below. You guys are all awesome. I love you to death. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless.